Welcome to the first edition of Re-Creationism Vision, a show that allows me to explore the minds of some people that have had a very instrumental impact on my life and my growth. And I'm getting a little emotional because the person I have here really has had an impact on me that she may not have known, which has led to my book, Universal Talk Laws, my play, Recreation Encounter, my online training, DixonOnDemand.com. So let's give a little back history on how we got to this point. 2011, I'm a sales executive with Wyndham Vacation Ownership. In Williamsburg, Governor's Green is the building where I worked for 9 years before I transferred to New York. And I remember this day where everyone was crowded around this young lady looking at something on a video phone. And I went over and I saw the woman that I'm about to interview, before I even knew her, jump off of a mountain. And I never actually met someone personally that I saw jump off of a mountain. A year later, 2012, me and a friend of mine, we made a bet, and I had the nerve to take my first skydive, which changed my life forever, because I learned that even though I was extremely fearful of heights, after seeing the beauty of the land coming towards me, I remember thinking that day, how many more things am I restricting in my life because of fear? Fast forward another year, October 13th, 2013, after a pretty successful year in my sales career, I retired from making almost about $1 million a year in a company that I was doing very well with, to release my first book, Universal Talk Laws, How to Increase Your Net Worth with Words. But here's when it gets a little fun. So I have this pre-sale contest with my book. One of the first purchasers is the young lady we're about to talk to. And I had a contest where I randomly picked a name for one of the people. And this person that I saw in 2011 jump was the person that won. Now, the winner is Brandi Monsma. Brandi Monsma, you are the winner. Now, fast forward, this young lady, earlier this year, it's 2017 now, we're having a conversation, and I found out that she retired from her career and now is a professional stock operator, investor, living the dream in her early or mid-30s. You know, it's unique with women in their age, all right? But welcome, and I'm so honored. This is an impromptu discussion. And what's so also powerful about this is that in our conversation earlier this year, she said, I would love to just share some of the processes that your book of passion gave. So I'm just honored to have you here, and I just want to say thank you, Brandi. This is Brandi Monsma, and it's just really been an honor to watch this ride from 2013, well actually 2011 till now. How beautiful is your life, and how is everything going with you?
My life's amazing. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the invitation. You have been an inspiration as much to me as I didn't even know I was to you. So it's a treat and a blessing that we can give back to each other. Where would you like me to begin with talking?
Well, first, I just want to know, like, if you can give us a little backstory. You know, how did you get into the world of sales? I know I talk about it a lot in my path, but what I would like everyone that's looking at this to be able to gain is some of the principal processes without us teaching, just from you describing the path that led you to being. If you don't mind, how old are you?
I'm 34.
34, and March of 2017, retired, and now freely living, stocking, enjoying life. Oh yeah, stop trading and enjoying life. So just to put it, and that's so ironic because that was the age that I retired, 34. I'm not ashamed. I'm 38 right now. I'll be 39 in December. but 34 is a lucky number. It's
Well, I
looking
think
like.
I've been following your footsteps quietly for 6 years. So.
Wow, powerful. So yeah, give us the backstory. How did you even get into the world of sales?
Sales.
Yes.
I went to Old Dominion University, graduated with my undergrad in marketing and psychology, and I've always liked to talk.
Yes.
So a neighbor had was driving down the road, and he, long story short, thought I would be great at what we ended up doing in vacation ownership.
Okay.
So it was Keith Aviard.
Ah, okay. I'm very familiar with Keith. All right.
And I was on a walk in the neighborhood with my stepmother, and he was my stepmom's neighbor, and we started talking, and he said, "You would be phenomenal at what I do." And I went in, and I actually ended up taking my first job at Wyndham in Sydney, Australia.
Ah, okay.
And transferred to Williamsburg, and that's how I met you.
Wow, one of my characters in my novel for children that's coming up very soon is from Sydney, so we'll be talking about that,
Yep.
getting that book out there. So how did that transition happen? Were you in the United States for the first time? You lived there, came back? How did that transition?
In Sydney, I was getting my master's.
Okay.
I was studying at the University of Sydney,
Okay.
and remembered Keith saying I'd be good at our job, and walked into the Wyndham, and they hired me. So I transferred
Okay.
to Williamsburg. I graduated from the University of Sydney, and I went back to Williamsburg, and that's how I met you.
Wow.
And I was fortunate enough to be assigned a desk right next to your office,
Wow.
where I could look at all of your awards all the time,
Stop it.
shiny, and listen to you
Wow.
talk to all of your clients. And even though I couldn't hear everything you were saying, your body language and your intensity and your laughter and happiness and the way you had everyone that was interacting with you enjoying their time inspired me.
Wow.
And I would watch you in the break room not sit idly like our coworkers sometimes would. You had no idleness. And you would sit and you would look at stocks in the newspaper.
Wow.
And there was a moment that I was across from you. I don't even know if you knew I was in the room. And you were looking at stocks, and I said, I could do that.
I had no idea. And well, before I just want to also talk, when did you do that jump? When did you do that jump? When was that?
2007.
Wow. So it just all happened at that moment, because little did you know, that moment when I reflected was a very powerful moment in my life, because like I said, I looked at you different from that moment, because looking at you, of course, we're programmed, I talk about it so much, not to prejudge,
Right.
but I would not imagine that you just leaped off of that cliff the way that you did. So could we talk about that? What led you to that moment in 2007?
In life, there comes a point where you have to turn fear off. And it's easy not to, and there's no shortcut. It's as easy and as hard as telling your mind that you're going to change and things are going to be different. So when you saw that, it was after a lot of practice, experience, rock climbing, hiking. I had already lived in an RV and traveled around the country for about a year and driven the whole Pacific Coast Highway and the whole Baja Peninsula in Mexico, and I had experience not being scared. So I would use that, and I maybe inferred you were doing the same thing at work, but you taught me to turn it on. You know, when you're at work, you're focused, and you were the best person there to emulate. So I did, and I used that same thing that I would turn on and off with jumping to turn on and off at work. And until the day I retired, I did that.
On, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And it's literally a switch that you can turn on and off in your brain and say it's go time. Now it's time to focus, and it's time to jump. It's time to shake someone's hand and make them happy. And so much actionable, useful information in your book. Like, think about the end before you begin. And I would do that every single time. But that's what I did in the jump too.
Yes, yes. So speaking of this passion project, because literally I remember April 7th, the day when I decided I was going to write it. And please forgive anyone that really didn't take as much as you could have taken, because I wanted to make it such a simple read, because I knew in between tours I like to just attack and go and read and quick. And so I took into consideration this when I was writing this. And I believe you mentioned something on one of our calls that you believe some people may have underestimated the accuracy of how literally it works. So before we get into this, how was the process before the book? Because you were pretty successful, I believe, then.
I was.
So before, how was it, if you could encapsulate in words, how you looked at the process? Because you don't seem like a slacker at all. We all have been around people that we can just say, wow, they probably need to step up their hunger. You don't seem like that type of person. So in your world, I'm curious at how was it prior, and then I would like to get some feedback on what took place afterwards as the process was going.
Definitely. Prior to having this concise resource that I did actually read between client meetings,
wow.
I would sit and I would read it. There was more of a flow, less of an outline. So what your book gave me was transitions from picking someone up and key things that you do when you meet someone. Tell yourself before you pick them up that they're nice people, you're a chameleon, the message you're conveying is going to reach your audience no matter what, that you're unstoppable. And I would stand in the mirror, in the bathroom, in front of the mirror before I would pick up clients. I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
And I would say your words, I memorized them daily.
Wow.
And when I would pick them up, you wrote about the right way to mirror, how to greet them with a smile, how to think about what their day had been like, how to anticipate what they were feeling and experiencing. And it made me look at myself from the outside and say, what could I be wearing that would convey trust? What could I, the trust that I have in my heart, I want there to be no question that when I meet them, first impressions are huge. So from every step of the process, every sentence, to me, resonated powerfully.
And for the people that are not in sales, because I've gotten so many emails, I think this may be one of the best success stories, someone that actually was working and 3 years now, no longer working.
Yeah.
So, but what I believe people that are not directly in sales need to take away from this is you are selling every minute of the day, whether you're in sales or not, because
100%.
someone you're trying to persuade to do something. So I recommend everyone, no matter what you do for a living, to really dive deeper into your copy of Universal Talk Laws, because there are so many treats over this 15 years of sales experience that I had that have changed the direction of how I will ever communicate with anybody. And I also, when I look back and think about the world we're in now, it's 2017, and the amount of prejudgments that we may have because of the way news portrays different things, it is now more important than ever for everyone to tap into showing the best version of yourself, because if not, this world will eat you up and spit you out if you don't have some type of a plan of attack
100%.
towards it. And so, but also I wanted to apologize to some people that...
And just to your point,
Yes.
to your point, this book gives you so many actionable items that if you have a spouse or significant other, children, it's a less effective way to communicate by yelling than it is to ask nicely. And this improved, being in sales overall, improved my communication abilities with people I cared about.
Yeah.
But this, just because it's such an easy read, and you can do it if you're waiting to pick up your kids, or, I mean, I did it between a fast-paced, back-to-back meeting type of day that we were on, and it was a reminder. It was like a simple to swallow, go do it, and the more you read it, the more you would get more out of it. You would always, there's always a little bit more to grow from.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yes, and what I was gonna say.
I'm not trying to overly flatter.
No,
at all.
no.
I mean, this is my copy.
Yeah.
I took notes in it and tabbed it.
Wow.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say too, because what I realized within the last year, because I do have 2 more books being released this year in 2017, is that I kind of focus so much on the communication part that I did not talk about the health as much as I believe I should. So that's what these other passion projects are going to release. But I wanted to say to you, Brandi, my next book, Re-Creationism, talks about creating a mind and body connection that progressively moves forward every single day through creative action. And I believe one of the things that I want everyone to take away from this that I think helped with your unique success is that I believe you focus on health and have been focusing on health on a regular part of your life. I believe you do things that have to do with enhancing your emotional ability to connect with people. So one thing that I ask everyone is, even though I touched on the health piece, because I used to be 300 pounds, I was a functional alcoholic, I was an entirely different person, I did not dig that deeply in this because that was not the purpose of this. But I do believe there's some people that have called me saying I've made some ridiculous amounts of money, but they did not understand the foundation of what needs to be given so that that money doesn't start controlling you. So I do warn you that if you do dive into this book, please do not allow your success to take you away from the holistic ability for your spirit to grow, because if not, it will be defeating the purpose. And that's why I want you to truly understand that do not just allow the worth being from a tangible standpoint. Let this help your entire being uplift, literally. And I'm following up, and I do apologize because I know there's someone right now like, wow, I did make a lot of money, but my life is going crazy, and I did not intend for that to happen for you. So, but also, what I would like to kind of find out is, what is your daily schedule? So get us to after Universal Talk Laws. What led to the retirement, March of this year?
And just to kind of have it all make more sense, maybe, before I met you, the other areas of life, my hunger for knowledge, being emotionally intelligent and working on that, and being healthy, were all in place and things I was focusing on. And your book was, it greased the economic engine a lot. And it probably shortened what I was able to accomplish from maybe a 10-year period into something that ended up being faster than I thought possible. So today, when I wake up, I'm going through kind of a recreation time myself, and part of what I used to do in vacation ownership and real estate was stick to a schedule that organically worked for me to be rested and healthy and exercise and overcome an injury I had. And so once I was able to adjust my day, it was nerve-wracking actually to not have to do anything. I would wake up and go, I don't have to go to work anymore.
Wow.
So it became almost like a, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do with my day. So I started experimenting, and that was something that I had been so regimented with that I had almost forgotten how to add new things back in. I was in such a groove, and I think everyone gets like that. You find something that's comfortable, it's working, and then life changes and you have to adapt. I didn't want to adapt, and I wanted to always work towards more enlightenment, more happiness, more everything that makes you live.
Yes.
So for the first month, I played with my schedule a lot.
Okay.
I would go to bed late, I would go to bed early, I would wake up super early, I'd wake up super late.
Yeah.
And I'd go to the gym at weird hours, I'd see all kinds of people. People were probably like, what does this girl do? And eventually, because of the market, I wake up around 8, 9 o'clock.
Okay.
I used to try to work out before. It works to wake up, check what I have to do in front of my computer, and at some point during the day I'll go to the gym.
Okay.
I'll read a little bit. I always start my day with visualizing or meditating.
Got it.
And this is something that I used to do before I would go to vacation ownership and real estate.
Yes.
I would lay in bed, and for 15 minutes, I'd set my alarm 15 minutes early.
Okay.
And I would think about nothing. And I would think about, after the peaceful time that people call meditating, I would visualize every step from picking someone up to what I would say, all of my transitions, and how I would confidently, successfully communicate to the very last signing of paperwork. Not a day went by. And that eventually I didn't do that. So I still do that.
Wow.
And I don't know if that would help anybody else, but that's maybe one of the most powerful things, is that before my feet touch the floor, I think about my next step for the day. And then at some point, probably 3 days a week, I keep lists.
Yes.
And I constantly reference back my lists. And my list is based on my year goal, my 3-year goals, my 5-year goals. So I have a plan worked backwards, and if I've gotten too far off track, I still allow time to play, but if I've gotten too far off track, then I can get myself back on. So I try to stay organized. Yeah.
And I'm, like I said, so honored. This is probably any author's dream, to be able to see someone. But in our case, it's really reciprocity, because I do not believe I would be here if I didn't see you jump. And you said something earlier in this interview that I just want everyone to take away, is fear. You all, I truly believe, and I want to thank you, when I jumped out of that plane, and I was so scared of heights, and I realized how beautiful it was looking down and just gliding, even though it was a tandem jump. When I landed, I just remembered how many times I said no to things that had to do with heights. And I just remember thinking, how many more things am I missing out on because of fear? And I want you to think about, if you're looking at this, when you watch movies, when you look at television, the people that you're around, I just would like you to have your antenna up and vibe. What am I getting from this interaction with this medium? And I will let you know that as you become more aware, and I'm quite sure you have noticed this, you will start seeing that we are surrounded by fear, and a lot of it is justified because of protection. And I'll tell you, as we probably know, and I'm quite sure you're probably listening and know, protection for a short amount of time is okay to get you out of danger. But if you live in protection, you are speeding up your decay. And I just remember 100%. When I came to visit you in the Vegas area at the site where you worked, when I had a conference out there, and you were going through a rehab because you went through an injury.
Right.
And I I remember working out after coming and paying a visit to you all and thinking, wow, I know she's going to get better. I didn't know exactly how, but someone right now that's going through a challenge, an injury, personally, physically, financially, tell us, what did you do? Because you are like a completely different person now. You look literally better than ever. And what did you do to get over that situation? You don't have to get into what happened, but what was your process? Because like I said, I want anybody, whether you get the book, whether you don't, to be able to look at our experience and take something away that they can add into their world.
I injured my hip being an athlete, and it was a difficult to identify injury, and it took a couple years to even figure out what was wrong. And it was, at any point, I could have given up. And I went from going 110% to only being able to go 0.5%. And I didn't know what that even meant. I didn't know how to do that. And it was a daily challenge to basically like toe the line and see if this activity hurt. Could I walk a little bit extra now? And once I found the baseline where I couldn't sit for too long, I couldn't stand for too long, I couldn't walk for too long, I couldn't run for a long time, I was able to grow. And it was really just allowing the right amount of time to rest, listening to the experts tell you how to move, being open-minded when they would introduce things that I never would have thought to do, like leg exercises in the pool, and always being a sponge to new types of diets. I follow a similar diet to you, but I have meat in it, but it's called a bulletproof diet. And it's all organic, and you time when you eat, and it reduces inflammation, and that was one of the parts of my injury. And so just trying new things until it worked, never giving up, always growing. And as a result, the beautiful thing was that my lab results for my blood work are better than they were before my injury started. I kept my muscle tone and strength, and I got it back really quickly because I was able to take care of my body in such a way that after I knew what I could do, my recovery came quicker and quicker. So, but again, at any point, I could have given up.
Wow.
And because I allowed myself to be open to new information and then to use it, I became better than I was before.
Wow. And
which is awesome.
Yes, yes. And I would like to, as we get ready to transition into our next adventures in life, I just want to leave with the note of the law of attraction. And we talk about it, it gets talked about regularly, but I want to just make sure everyone that's listening to this know that there have been some things that went on in this conversation, not only for us individually to identify with and soak up, but if you heard this, the law of attraction attracted you to this for you to take away things from it to instantly put in your life. You just said something in your last response, being a sponge, being open. And that's one of the dangers of the society and humanity that we're in that's filled with protection. It will cause innocent, beautiful people with the best intentions to close off and not only protect themselves from things entering to hurt them, but also protect themselves from things that are meant to bring them to fruition. And I've lost a lot of people over the course of this time, physically, mentally, and I don't want to lose anyone else because of them being closed off. And I am just, again, honored to have this moment. I thank you for your time. Are there any things that you would like to leave us with?
I learned a long time ago that I would rather be active and happy and be outside than always work in an office. But I had to work in an office because, like you, I started with nothing. And when you inspired me to look at the stock market, you didn't even know you did it. And now that's my livelihood.
Wow.
So always being open, always finding, even quietly, people that you respect and look up to, and being a smart enough person emotionally to question those deep challenges that you have. And sometimes they're hard to get past, and sometimes after you get past them, they always seem easy, don't they?
Yes, yes.
You're like,
yes.
why was that a big deal?
Exactly. Wow, yes. And I'll tell you, I'm about to do another jump. And so I'm going to see how that works after this process. But man, it's been beautiful. And Re-Creationism Vision
Don't give up.
This has been beautiful. I pray that whoever has tuned in was able to take something away. This was very impromptu, just two beautiful souls that have connected along this journey and have been able to give each other the best of each other, from a book to seeing you jump, to you telling me about your stock class, to me now looking into possibly diving deeper, and just living and loving and sharing and growing.
Yes.
Is what life is really all about. So it's 2017. I don't know what your plan is if you're looking at this, but as long as your plan includes the 4 pillars that this philosophy, Re-Creationism, encapsulates: getting better every day in your health, getting better every single day in your emotional intelligence, getting better daily with your thirst to gain new information outside of your tunnel, and doing whatever you do for a living better every single day. Even if it's not your innate position on life right now, please understand that it is there for a reason, to lead you to your season. And we have someone right now that is in a cocoon phase, because I'm quite sure there are going to be some things that are going to prosper during your stock market process. But once you start taking advantage of this energy that gets all of this nature going, your future becomes unpredictable, because you're not just going with the monotonous flow of something that is stagnated. So, Brandi, I thank you.
Yes.
I truly, truly thank you. I'm honored for your time. And other than that, let's get it. Thank you so much. And it's truly been a pleasure. You will see some more interviews with some very powerful people along this journey. So thank you, and many blessings and love to your family. Let's do the best we've ever done today without worrying about whatever took place any time before. Namaste.
Namaste.